Hey everyone, my name is Cheryl. I am the owner and creator behind CM Handmade Co. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to recap not one, but two markets that I attended. They were back-to-back Saturdays, and I'm here to tell you all about it. The first market was hosted by The Best Market. The venue is a small rural community hall, and there was 23 vendors there. So the market ran from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. It was a one table event. It was a $60 fee. This is the second year that the Best Markets have held their holiday market in this community hall. Before this, they did it closer to kind of a little city or town, and this one was definitely more rural, so people would have to drive out to it. Despite that, there was still quite a bit of foot traffic and sales were pretty good. This was the first market as well that I did the tags like this for each product. Basically is telling who designed the pattern, how long it took, washing instructions, that sort of thing. And then I have my little price tag here. So the customer goes home with this one, and then I keep this one to reuse and to know what I sold for the day. I'm going to show my setup. I'll picture up my setup, and then we'll go through what sold. Okay, so my setup was a one table, which sometimes is hard to fit everything in and to give everything kind of the front and center attention that it needs. So I think halfway through the market, I noticed that my large turtles weren't selling or getting the attention that they usually get. So I moved them out in the front later on, but it was a bit too late for them. So that's just one challenge of having that one table, is if you have too much stuff there, then things are missed. So this is all of my tags that sold. So I'm going to go through what sold. So this market, I tried to focus a little bit more on accessories, like hats, scarves, headbands, and scrunchies, just to kind of have, I had that over in one side of the table, just to have a variety of things, and people would be shopping for Christmas gifts. And I thought maybe this would be a good event to showcase them a little bit more. So I had scrunchies, bookmarks, crochet dishcloths, cowls, headbands, and I think I had one hat, so that's not a lot, but we had a hat in there. So things that sold from that section, I sold two headbands. So I sold those headbands for $15 each. I sold one scrunchie, and then I sold two simple cowls that and I can show it to you actually. So the simple cowls, they're just basically like, I would say at least the double width of a headband, and they're a little bit wider. And I sold those for $20 each, and I sold two of those. One was in a purple color, and another was in a multicolor purple, I believe. For the plushies, I sold, I sold a baby pig for $5. I sold a little pocket frog for $5. I sold a stingray for $5. And then Mabel Chicken got some attention. I sold two Mabel Chickens for $10 each. I had three colors, ivory tweed, woodland tweed, and sandy tweed. The woodland tweed is always the most popular, followed by ivory tweed. So I sold one ivory tweed and one woodland tweed. Then I sold a little octopus for $10, and I don't know if I have a picture of him, and I apologize. I'll try to find one in my photo dumps. I also sold a hatching chick for 10. It was my last hatching chick in the Louis and Berg pattern, and I only sold him for 10. I usually sell him for 15, but when I get down to just one item of something, I usually mark it down because I like to have a group of things. And I wasn't planning on making any more hatching chicks in that design. I was going to switch designs and see how they do, or I might make some more. I'm not sure. But I sold that guy for 10. Hatching chicks are very popular. Everybody loves them. So just as a little tidbit, if you're a crochet vendor out there. My $15 items, Fred the Frog was quite popular. I sold 3 out of 5 of him. I have him in 2 different colors. Okay, so this is Fred the Frog. And basically my markets, either he's really popular or he doesn't sell at all. So this was one of those markets where he was popular. So 3 out of 5 of these sold. So these were $15 each. One of this color, the mystical green, sold, and 2 of the misty green burnout blanket sold. I had one little sea turtle that sold. It was a little pink sea turtle with yarn eyes, and that sold for 15. In my last video, if you've seen, I had a chick and it came with a book saying that's not my chick, I think. The book was called That's Not My Chick, and it came, I made a little chick and I sold the combo of those for 20. That sold. The bear with a book, Itty Basil Bear, and the book was called I Love You Through and Through. It sold, so that was for 30. Then I had 2 snugglers sell. May the elephant sold and Mav the monkey sold, and those were $35 each. And then a Mr. Green sold. He was the first thing that sold right away. I had 2 of them there, and one of them sold, and he was $35. So my first market, I sold 17 items for a total of $330. 170 of that was cash, 180 was on the card. $60 was my table fee, $37.96 will go to tax, and that gives a net total of $232.04. So am I happy with that? Yeah, sure. You know, for the foot traffic that was there and for the inventory that I had, I think that that was a good market for that type of venue. Going in, I wanted to sell over 300 and I sold 330. So that was, I met that goal. Once you kind of take away all of the fees and all that stuff, then it dwindles down a bit to roughly 230, but that's another 230 that's kind of in my pocket for that day, and I got to go and enjoy a market and sell things that I love to make. So I call that market a success. For the size of the market it was and for what I sold, I was pleased. Okay, now the second market was probably like the exact opposite as the first market. The second market, okay, you need to come over here. Sorry, crowley pants. Okay. So the second market had over, so it is a market that is an annual holiday market hosted by a secondary school in our area. It had over 200 vendors, and it wasn't like what's that word? It wasn't juried. So it basically like you sign up. There could be 10 crochet vendors or 1. It's kind of the luck of the draw. So over 200 vendors. It was in this high school. There's setups in the gym. I'll actually show a picture of like all these setups because it was in the gym and the atrium and the cafeteria and the foyer and down hall. Anyway, I was down a hall, probably like the 4th table from the end of a hall where people would maybe not want to come down. The hosts did an interesting thing. They had like a little passport where people would have to go to get their stamp, and then at the end they would get entered for a draw. Or, I'm not quite sure, but it was incentive to go to and walk, at least walk past every booth. So where I was fourth from the end of the hall, there was a stamper, and sometimes there was like a little bit of backup of traffic, so people would be standing in front of the booth, kind of like waiting to move on. So it was kind of good in a sense, because then you could kind of, they looked around a little longer. Um, they weren't going anywhere, so they took a bit more time to actually look at things and talk to you. So over 200 vendors. It was from 9:30 until 3:30. It's done. It's an annual event. It's well attended. Um, so definitely a ton more foot traffic. So at this market, I sold a total of 52 items. So uh, over over double. Let's see, 17 times 3. Yeah, 3 times the amount as my first show. So so much that I had to get a different bobby pin because it wouldn't fit on my little stitch marker. So I was really excited about getting all of these. Um, very, very happy about that. So I will kind of review what's sold. Hi, 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 hi. Everybody so wants to help out. Okay, so I'm going to start with the smaller items and work my way up to the larger items for this time. So the smaller items that sold, I sold one bookmark. I sold my last baby pig, and that's the last baby pig I'm going to make. I'm going to start making the finger puppet pigs by the Crochet Carpenter instead of the baby pigs, and I'll sell them for a bit more than that. Um, I sold one, two, three, four little baby frogs. I sold a baby stingray. I sold two stingrays. I sold two waffle dishcloths that I had for $5 each, which, let me tell you, that's not a good. Making dishcloths and selling them is not a good, is not a profit making venture. I'll tell you that. But I do like making the waffle dishcloths, but you can't sell them for what time you put in them. That's what I'll say. And then I sold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 velvet scrunchies. I was extremely excited about that. The next thing I did sell, I sold some Christmas $10 items. So the reindeer, I sold 2 of them. The little pipsqueak reindeer. I donated one of them to um, the gift table. So then selling 2, I was sold out of them. We Mean Green Bean by Cluck and Buzz Crochet is a free pattern. They're adorable. A lot of people looked at them. I had 6 of them and I sold 1 for $10. My $15 items, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 small sea turtles. They were quite popular, especially the yarn eye ones. I think I only have 1 yarn eye left, and I think I sold 3 yarn eyes and 1 plastic eye. And then for loaf cats, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I sold 5 for $15 each. They're the small loaf cats by Annie Caraway Design. One of those was with yarn eye, and 4 of them was plastic. Then I sold for $15 my emotional support dumpster fires. I had 3 of them there, and I sold all 3. I probably could have sold more of those. So maybe I'll restock those for my next market. So I sold 3 of them for $15 each. It's my own pattern. I like to do the emotional support like kind of novelty ones in cotton yarn. It's my own pattern. I haven't written it up, but if you look at these and you like the pattern, like what you see, let me know and I can definitely write it up and get it out there. I finally sold my little chubby dino with embroidered eyes. I sold him for 20. I sold a large sea turtle for 30, and it was plastic eye one. The lady came up and she bought it for herself. She just loved it. So that was nice. She couldn't walk away, she said. So that was exciting. I sold 4 snugglers. So I sold a raccoon one, a Highland cow one, and 2 Duke Duck snugglers. So I sold all those for $35 each. I sold my standing donkey for $35. And then I had another Book Buddy set with Itty, Basil Bear, and the book I Love You Through and Through. So I decided that I probably underpriced this one for my last market because I sold it for 30, which I was thinking 20 for the bear and 10 for the book. But actually, I should be charging 25 for the bear and $10 for the book. So I upped the price to 35 just by $5, and it sold as well. So people really like the idea of the book set. And then I sold a beanie. It's Maggie's beanie pattern. It was in a sage green, and the yarn is, it was a Karen macchiato cake, but it was in this sage green color, which was really perfect. So I double stranded it and made the chunky beanie, and it has a removable pom-pom, and it's sold. So Mr. Green, I had another $35 Mr. Green. He sold again, first thing to sell at the market. And that was my last one. I had people coming back too and saying, I seen a lady at her booth. It was another vendor that bought it, and she had displayed it in her booth, and they're like, I seen she had this, and do you have any more? So I think if I had more of those, I would have sold more. So he was very popular. And the other thing that sold was that I didn't have a tag for is a baby otter. I sold that for $10, and that was one with a plastic eye. Yeah, and I sold 2 chickens. So both of them were the woodland tweed color, that orange color. 2 of them for 20. I don't know why I didn't have any for that. Oh, and I also sold a double palm beanie. As things were kind of winding down and I wanted to pop some other stuff up. After I sold the one beanie, I put the double palm beanie up just to see if it would sell, and because it was a 6 to 12 month age one, and it sold for $25. So in total, that was 52 items for a total of $745. The 325 was cash, 420 was on the card. The table fee, oh, I should have said I had a double booth, so I had 2 tables that were provided to me. I think one was a 6-foot and one was an 8-foot table. So I had lots of space to put stuff out. So the table fee total was $120. $85.71 will go to tax, and that leaves me with a net amount profit of $539.29. So definitely, so I was happy with my sales. I wish I could have sold a little bit more, given that I did spend $120 on vending on the tables, but I was happy with the foot traffic. It did start to slow down after lunch. This was my first time doing this event because it's really hard to get into. And the other vendors around me who have been doing it for years and years said that this was the slowest this market's ever been. and their sales were down about 50%. So, given that I did sell as much as I did, I was happy with that. I did not go and walk around to all the other vendors because I just didn't want to spend any money. So I didn't get to see kind of what was around, but I'm sure that there was crochet vendors, and just down from me there was a lady selling these beautiful knitted toques. So there's definitely a lot of fiber arts there. So selling what I did with that much kind of other competition there is a success as well. I'll probably do both of these markets again. The first market is it's smaller, so there is less traffic, but oh, you little bugger. The first market is smaller, so there is going to be less traffic, but I just love the atmosphere that Eden produces and creates. It's just a wonderful environment, and I feel like the customers that do come to her markets expect her to um, expect to have a large variety of different um, vendors with and get like a unique experience, I guess. So I will do more of her markets because I just like the atmosphere that she creates. It's a very professional atmosphere, and her advertising is professional. Everything about her business is professional, so it's kind of like her customers who are coming um, to shop at her markets. It's kind of like their standard of what they're going to see is a little bit higher, and maybe they're willing to spend a little bit more money. So even though you don't get the foot traffic of a huge market that's been year after year after year, you definitely get customers that are there to actually purchase and buy. And also, it was free admission for customers that come, and also free parking, etc. The second event was probably there was probably at least 7 times the foot traffic as at the first market. So that correlates to more sales, which is great. I did have to spend more money for my table fee because I got a double site. And it did kind of slow down in the afternoon. Being kind of down a hallway, I'm wondering if I did lose out on some people who weren't going for like the passport stamp, and they'd have to walk down the hallway and then walk back to leave. So I might have missed some people that way. Overall, though, I'm very happy with my sales. I know that there are things that I can improve on for my inventory, and I know that I could have had more variety. For example, the standing donkey that sold, like that was my only big plushie that I had. So uh, I definitely could have more items like that for gifts. So I definitely was lacking in that department. Um, Overall, extremely happy. Things that were shut out. My gnomes were shut out. Didn't sell any of those. Baby Alien, or like Baby Yoda, Baby Grogu, whatever you want to call them. I had 5 of those. None of those sold. What else didn't sell? My Baby Mean One snugglers didn't sell. Had 2 of those. Hey everybody, we are going to wrap up this video. I just wanted to kind of do just a brief summary, just recapping both of the markets. So small market, big market. Table fee $60, $120. Foot traffic, I would say probably 2 out of 5 stars. Big market foot traffic, I would say 4 out of 5 stars because it did slow down after lunch. If it had kept going, it would have been a 5 out of 5. Both had free parking. One was free admission, one was a $2 admission or a donation to the food bank. One, this is their second time doing the holiday market in this location. The other, it's been going on for at least 10 years. I would say atmosphere wise, I really enjoy the Best Market's atmosphere. I feel like it's kind of like a curated shopping experience for the customers, as opposed to bigger markets tend to be lots of vendors, um, multiple kinds of the same vendor, I guess you could say. Um, doesn't mean one's better than the other. It's a different atmosphere. Overall, profit wise, the small market net profit 230, the bigger market 540. I would say I think they're pretty similar. I would say that the only thing that really changed the totals was the foot traffic. So the moral of the story, in the end, foot traffic leads to sales. So if you are out there trying to decide which markets to go to, attend them first, see how many people are there. If it's kind of crickets, at when you walk in and there's maybe one or two shoppers, it's not good foot traffic. You want foot traffic, like steady stream of people coming in and out. So if you can find markets that are good foot traffic and get into those markets with a reasonable fee, you're going to sell more than if you go to markets where there's not going to be a lot of foot traffic. You're still going to sell, you just won't sell a lot. When you hear people talking about selling thousands of dollars, it's because of the foot traffic. So that's the moral of the story, is foot traffic. I still like attending those smaller markets though. Like I said, the environment and the vibe, seems to be more social. Sometimes at those smaller markets, I'm connecting more for custom orders. The larger markets, I'm not, because there's too much variety. But at the small ones, that's when I've got more custom orders. I get more followers on Instagram that way. I connect with people a little bit more. So there is good that's coming out of those smaller markets, even if it doesn't show in my final net sales for that day. So I hope you enjoyed this video recapping these two markets. If you like this video, please give a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet to my channel, subscribe. I'm slowly creeping up there with my numbers and I'm really excited. I apologize it took so long to post this video. It's probably been a week and a half in the making. Sorry. I'll try to do better on that. That's it. That's all. I hope everybody's doing well. If you've watched this video to the end, why don't you give me a thumbs up in the comments, just to be my little cheerleading squad. And also give me a comment. Tell me if you were crocheting during this time, or what you were working on, or what you found exciting, what you were surprised at sold, what you were surprised at didn't sell, etc., etc. And until next time, happy crocheting!